Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I've been saying this for a long time, which is NATO troops are involved more or less in special operations in Ukraine. I personally don't have any evidence because I was not involved with them, either like this or let's go. But you can't be an idiot and not learn from history. And history tells us that they all lie during this kind of situation, which is war. And, most likely the French in this case, and the Americans and the Brits have made special military operation units in Ukraine. Maybe you're familiar with the leaks that came from the Pentagon a few days ago. And those leaks revealed a lot of stuff, and one of the things that they revealed is that the French army is in Ukraine. The UK military is, and the American military and Latvian, I think. I have this article here is going to tell us in detail who the leaks say are actively involved in the military operation in Ukraine. So, this article comes from Ukrainska Pravda. It is from today, the 9th of April 2023. Obviously, the French Defense Ministry denies presence of French soldiers in Ukraine. The French Ministry of Defense denies the presence of French soldiers in Ukraine as allegedly evidenced by documents attributed to the Pentagon that were leaked to Russian social media in the middle of the week. The source is the spokesperson of Sébastien Lecornu, Minister of the Armed Forces of France, reported by The Guardian. And I'm quoting Mr. Lecornu. There are no French forces engaged in operation in Ukraine. The documents cited do not come from the French armies. We do not comment on documents whose source is uncertain. End quote. All right. Well, what would have been the other option? Yes, we are engaged in military operation and subvertive activities or maybe direct combat against the Russians in Ukraine. That would have been the alternative. Now, which one do you think these guys will say it until the cows come home? This one right here. As I said, I don't have evidence to support or deny any of this. But as I always say, there's no smoke without fire. Certain information coming from those leaks, are kind of accurate. Some of them are far-fetched. But hey, let's go and see what this article tells us further. Top classified Pentagon documents reportedly containing diagrams and details of expected arms shipments, battalion size, and other sensitive information were posted on Twitter and Telegram earlier this week. One of the slides stated that Ukraine already has a small contingent of special forces from France, America, the United Kingdom, and Latvia, comprising less than 100 soldiers from NATO member state. You start slow, According to military analysts, documents were changed in some parts to overstate the US estimates of Ukrainian military losses and underestimate the number of Russian military losses. Background: Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, has called the first batch of materials photoshopped and joked about the degradation of Russian intelligence. Well, what can you do else? Say yes, that's true. Andrei Yusov, representative of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, has said that evaluations of losses of both sides are clearly false in the material, and part of the information is, and I'm quoting, explicitly collected from open sources. Now, I don't know what to say. The problem is this. The Americans, though, started an investigation on this in the Pentagon. So it's not some Russians did it in a basement in Lubyanka in Moscow. if the Americans started an investigation at the Pentagon, I think it's a serious thing, don't you think? Now, it doesn't mean that the Russians might not have had their little claws in all that, which I think they could, in a way of facilitating the spread of this leak. Again, my personal, I don't want to call it belief, but assessment on this issue is that there are troops, or foreign troops, with ranks belonging to the militaries of other countries in Ukraine, doing certain things. Now, used as all kind of terms, euphemistic terms used for these troops, like military advisors, or investigators, or inspectors, or arms inspectors, to make sure that those arms don't end up in the hands of evil people and things like this. It doesn't really matter. Or they have the Poles being, having a group of demining military. All these guys that are just concerned with demining. They don't even carry automatic weapons or any weapon besides their fists and fingers and elbows and heads, right? Well, I'm sorry, I personally find it, I don't know, very, very hard to believe that there are no troops over there. And believe me, the Ukrainians have the so-called 40,000 storm battalion, or assault battalion, stormtroopers that I call them, ready to come back from, I don't know where they're trained. And on top of that, allegedly, the Ukrainians have thousands of troops outside of their country being trained by the Western country. And when they're going to come back here, they're going to just be coming and coming and coming, like the Soviets came after Stalingrad and pushing the Germans, Wehrmacht, back and back and back, because they were coming from the east somewhere. Well, okay. Remember, they made a lot of movies about this, so that could ring a bell to idiots. They would say, yeah, that's possible, remember? And I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that it's most likely that these guys have this kind of troops over there. And then you say, why not? I mean, they have everything else there. Everything else. They have now aircraft. They're going to send more fighter jets. They have long-range missile systems. They just bombarded Crimea yesterday, or at least tried yesterday or the day before, and I calculated that should have been at least 300 kilometers hit. Now, there's not a short-range missile anymore. They have all kind of, they have the intelligence. These guys plan with them where to hit, what to do. They repair their stuff in the territory of the supporting countries. So everything but military over there engaged. And it makes you wonder why. What, do you think they would change anything? I mean, you already gave them the weapons to kill me. How about having your guys over there killing me? I mean, it's just such a small step that for me it's almost like impossible to believe. Oh yeah, they will not do that, man. They will not. Remember, they said they will not send tanks. They sent tanks. Remember, they said they will not send fighter jets. They sent fighter jets. Remember, they will not send long-range missile systems. They sent. So they said they will not send active troops, combat troops. Why do you think that that's the red line that they will not cross? Oh, please, let's be serious. Not that I was joking so far, but they can deny, and they will deny until one day when a courageous investigator somewhere will be allowed to look into this and will be allowed to publish certain documents and his findings. And that's going to be when there will be allowed. You'll see. It depends what happens in Ukraine. And it depends what will be the outcome. This brave investigator will be allowed. And there will be some others that will be assigned this task, and they will do it. But they will do it in a certain way because they were assigned. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people like this that write books at command. And some people who know exactly what they're supposed to write, because therefore they will be promoted and their careers are going to increase, and they will be brought forth in front of the cameras as experts, analysts, university professors, and all that, with all kind of titles, trying to fool you and I. and all of us. You'll see. It did happen before, it is happening right now, and will happen. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.